stars are right, and that means it's time for another episode of The Whisper in Darkness. I'm your host, the man from Lang. Thank you very much for joining me today. On this episode, we are continuing our campaign with none other than Lola Hayes, the actress. We finished Echoes of the Past, and we are heading into one of my favorite scenarios in the Path to Carcosa cycle so far. We are going to be doing the Unspeakable Oath. We didn't make many changes from the deck after Echoes of the Past. We earned 2 experience points, but I want to save those. The only changes I made is I used my adaptable to swap my 2 copies of Overpower for 2 copies of Manual Dexterity. Evasion is huge in this scenario. It's often a lot better to evade enemies than fight them. So I am hoping that the extra agility icons will come in handy. Here's a summary of the campaign so far. We suffered 1 mental trauma way back in Curtain Call. We earned 2 XP during Echoes of the Past for a total of 7 XP. We have 1 tally mark under Chasing the Stranger. During The Last King, we interviewed Clark, Perry, and Moreau. We intruded on a secret meeting. We have marked 2 doubt in our campaign log, and Lola decided to leave the Onyx class behind. She recognized it for what it is. It's just a prop. It's just a prop in the old play, the old King in Yellow performance, so she didn't feel the need to take it. Now, the Unspeakable Oath is, excuse me, definitely one of my favorite scenario of the Path to Carcosa campaign so far, and but it's also a doozy. It's also a very difficult scenario to beat consistently in solo. It really taxes your actions, and you really don't have time to dawdle in this one. You need to get moving because you've got a lot to accomplish, and you don't have much time to do it. And sometimes you simply run out of time. So we're hoping here we can navigate Lola through this, and then we can continue with the campaign in A Phantom of Truth. We are set up in Octagon, and we are ready to go. We have Lola Hayes here. She has her mental trauma, and she has her copy of Adaptable. I've also got her color swatches here so we can track which role she happens to be in at any one time. Lola begins play here at the Asylum Hall's Eastern Patient Wing. It's a 2-shroud location with 1 clue, and it has the forced effect. After you end your turn at this location, you take 1 horror and gain 2 resources. So we are not going to want to spend too much time at the Eastern Patient Wing if possible. We have our locations set up. We've got the Western Patient Wing, the Mess Hall, the Yard, as well as the Infirmary, as well as the locations we cannot enter until we have acquired the key, that being the kitchen, the garden, and the basement halls. So our goal in this one is to, we need to find Daniel Chesterfield here, and then we have several tasks we need to accomplish in the asylum in order to guarantee our escape. And once we've found Daniel, then we have to try to get out before we run out of time. And as I mentioned, there isn't a whole lot of time to spare in this one. You really need to get moving and get those clues and accomplish those objectives before you can leave. Our agenda is 1A. Locked inside, the patient wing of the asylum is far quieter and lonelier than you had expected. The hall reeks of chemicals and body odor. As soon as you are escorted inside, the doors behind you are closed and locked tight. And it has a doom threshold of 2. And our act is 1A, Arkham Asylum. Aside from a few patients giving you a wide berth, there aren't any orderlies or doctors around to speak with. Looks like you'll have to find Mr. Chesterfield on your own, and we will need 3 clues per investigator to advance. We are playing the Unspeakable Oath on standard difficulty. The skulls are -1, and if you fail, you randomly choose an enemy from among the set-aside monster enemies and place it beneath the act deck without looking at it. You do, before you start this game, you do separate the lunatic enemies and the monster enemies out of the encounter deck and set them aside. The cultist is -X. X is the amount of horror on you. We do not have any cultists. We do have 2 tablets in the chaos bag, and those are -X, where X is the base shroud value of your location. And we do not have any Elder Thing tokens in the bag to worry about. So just the tablets, and those are -X, where X is the base shroud value. I think we're ready to shuffle up our deck and draw our opening hand. In this scenario, I'm going to be looking for... I'm hoping we can get our Dark Horse out early, because it would be really helpful to get that bonus Investigate, bonus Intellect going early, so we can investigate these locations quickly and gather those clues and get a move on. The price for failure in this one is pretty high. The campaign basically ends unless you can pass this one, so it's there's no room for error. So let's draw our opening hand and see how we do here, and we'll get started. If we can, if my hotkeys are going to work, there we go. And our opening hand, we get our Dark Horse. Hey, look at that. We get our Dark Horse. We get 2 copies of Dodge, a Perception, as well as our copy of Peter Sylvester, the level 2 version of Peter Sylvester, who gives us +1 agility and +1 willpower. So that is that's a great... looks like a great start here for us if we can grab this clue. We do not want to stay very long at the Eastern Patient Wing. I don't really want to take that that horror, nor do I want to gain resources. That's not great either for a Dark Horse deck. I think I'm going to keep the Perception, because we do need to grab this clue as quickly as possible. The 2 copies of Dodge, I think I'm going to mulligan those. We'll see what we can get here. We get a Prepared for the Worst. That's nice. We can get a weapon and a Guts. So we will shuffle those back into our deck, and it looks like we're ready to go. So our first task, I think, is to get out of here as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, if we want to get Dark Horse and Peter Sylvester down at the same time, we'd have to spend an entire turn here. And I'm not sure I want to do that. Although we could... we do need to choose a starting role, and I think obviously that is going to be Survivor. The question is, do we drop our Dark Horse and Peter Sylvester first and eat a horror which Peter Sylvester can heal, but then swap out so we don't end up drawing into one of our weaknesses and losing both our Dark Horse and our Peter Sylvester? I think what we'll do, we'll start off, we'll go... Problem is, if we play our Dark Horse first, we're still going to have 2 resources, and that's not going to turn on our bonus. We could go 5 versus 2 if we play our Perception. So I'm going to commit the Perception to the skill test. We will go 5 versus 2 as our first action to try to grab this clue on the Asylum Hall's Eastern Patient Wing. And let's see what the Chaos Bag has to say about that. That is a tablet, so that will be a -2. So we are okay. So we do grab that clue. And we do get a card for the Perception. So there is our improvisation. That's one of Lola Hayes' signature cards. It's fast. You can play it only during your turn, and you can switch roles until the end of your turn, reduce the resource cost of the next card you play of your role by 3. So that would be quite nice if we can get a weapon. So I think what we're going to do first off here, we are going to, I think as our second action, we will play Peter down. We'll play Peter as our second action. And then as our third action, we are going to move over to the Asylum Hall's Western Patient Wing. It's a 3-shroud location with 1 clue, and it has the game text. Each lunatic enemy at this location gets +1 horror value. So a pretty decent start so far. We are in position to play our Dark Horse next turn, which is good. And we will have 0 resources, so that is a good thing. I think we're going to have to take a risk and just draw, and hopefully we won't be drawing our signature weakness, which would force us to discard Peter Sylvester. I'd like to stay as a survivor for at least 1 more turn, and then maybe swap to Guardian, so we can play our Prepared for the Worst to get a weapon in hand if necessary. So we'll go right to Upkeep. We will draw a card. It is our not our signature weakness, but it is our weakness, Psychosis. You add Psychosis to your threat area. Forced after you take 1 or more horror, you take 1 direct damage, and you can take 2 actions to discard Psychosis. We will gain a resource, and we will add a Doom, and go to our first Mythos phase. Our first encounter card is going to be the Yellow Sign. We test 4 willpower, and if you fail, you take 2 horror and search your deck for a Madness weakness. Draw it and shuffle your deck. Now this is bad news. This is bad news because we have another Madness weakness in our deck, and it happens to be Lola's signature weakness, is a Madness weakness. So if we fail this skill test, we are going to have to draw a Madness weakness, which is going to force us to discard Peter Sylvester. Now, how do we do this? If we go Guts, Peter's giving us 1, so we're 4/4 right now. We could go 6/4 and swap out of we could do that. We could go 6/4, and then we have a window where we could swap out of our survivor to something else, and then so we can protect Peter in case we fail. That might be our best plan, I think. And then, if necessary, we could use our improvisation to play our Dark Horse next turn. So let's do that. We will go we will commit this guts. So we are a 6 versus 4 during the free action window we've got. I'm going to swap over to Guardian so we can protect Peter in case we do fail this test and we have to draw our weakness. And yeah, so 6 versus 4. Chaos Bag says auto fail, so that that was a good play on our part. So we have to go search our deck for a madness weakness. This is actually okay in a way because, oh well, look at that, our madness weakness is second card from the right on top of our deck. So we there are 2 Crisis of Identities in our deck, so we are getting rid of one of them this way. So that's nice. So I don't like taking the 2 Horror, of course. That's never great. But we can put the 2 Horror on Peter, and he can eventually heal that off. So we have to discard all cards we control of our current role, then discard the top card of your deck and switch to that role of the class of the discarded card. So we are now a Seeker, which doesn't really help us a whole lot. And we've used our swap this turn, so we're going to have to wait till next turn to do any more swapping. Okay, well that was we dodged a bullet there. We might have lost Peter right off the bat due to this yellow sign. But we did get rid of one of our signature weaknesses, so we don't have to worry about that. I think as our first 2 actions, we are going to get rid of our Psychosis. We don't really have the... I don't want to be taking direct damage. And that leaves us with 1 action, so we can... we could also... yeah, we could do that as well. We could swap. We could play our improvisation to swap over to Survivor again. Play our Dark Horse. Play our Dark Horse for free. We'd still have 3 resources, but then we could cap them. We could stop taking it. Maybe then we can play our Prepared for the Worst to get a weapon which we could play the following turn. Let's do some investigating first. I want to go... yeah, 3 versus 3 is not great for Lola. But I think we're going to give it a try. We'll go 3 versus 3. Let's see what we get here. We get an Elder Sign. Holy cow, that's huge! Because we get to switch roles without having to play our Dark Horse. Or without having to play our improvisation, sorry. That is fantastic. So we get a clue. And we also get to swap roles, which I am going to do... That was our last action, though. That doesn't fix our problem. I think I am going to switch to Survivor. And that way I can heal one of the Horror off of Peter Sylvester. And that will, at the end of our turn. So that's good. No enemies to worry about. We are going to advance the agenda this turn. So we will go straight to upkeep. We will draw a card. There is another copy of improvisation. We will gain a resource and add a doom. And we are going to flip. Alright, so we are flipping to Act 1B, or Agenda 1B. Agenda 1B is the patience. Speaking with the patients is proving more difficult than you had assumed. They eye you cautiously and refuse to answer any of your questions, backing away or fleeing if confronted. Either they're not used to the guests, or something about you is causing them a considerable amount of stress. Some act like animals backed into a corner, and you think at any moment they might strike. So we shuffle the encounter discard pile and each of the set-aside lunatic enemies into the encounter deck. The lead investigator must randomly choose an enemy from among the set-aside monster enemies and place it beneath the act deck without looking at it. So we shuffle our only card into the encounter deck. We also, these are the lunatics. This they are. We will shuffle those into the deck as well. We have to place one of the monsters beneath the act deck. So that goes there. And we are... I think we are ready to go here. I'm just looking for my agenda discard pile, if I can find it quickly. There it is. So we discard this agenda and we advance to Agenda 2A. You stay there for a minute. Agenda 2A is torturous descent. The longer you spend in this hellish place, the more you want to leave. Already it has felt like days. You fear that if you are stuck here much longer, you will become like the patients, a husk of your former self, unruly and dangerous. And it has a doom threshold of 7. Okay. We do have to draw an encounter card, which is going to be Gift of Madness, Misery. It has it's a terror, it has the peril and hidden keywords. You secretly add Gift of Madness, Misery to your hand. You cannot trigger action abilities on locations, and as an action, you randomly choose one enemy from among the set-aside monster enemies and place it beneath the act deck without looking at it. Discard Gift of Madness, Misery from your hand. So we are going to have to get rid of that at some point here, because we simply cannot trigger actions on locations, and we actually need to do that in order to beat this scenario. So that's definitely going to get discarded at some point. So we are a guardian, or sorry, we are a survivor. So I am going to gain our 3 actions. Our first action is definitely going to be to play Dark Horse for 3 resources. I think then what we're going to do is we're going to swap over to Guardian as our free action, and I'm going to play this Prepared for the Worst. So we can search the top 9 cards of our deck for a weapon asset and add it to our hand. So we will look at the top 9, see if we can't find a weapon. We have 2 machetes in our top 9, so we will draw one of those. That's good. And we will shuffle that up. Okay, so that was our first 2 actions. Our third action, we are going to move up to the yard here. The yard is a 1 shroud location with 1 clue, and while you are investigating the yard, it gets +1 shroud for each horror on you, so it's actually going to be a 2 shroud location. And if there are no clues on the yard, take 1 damage. Remember that you have incited a fight among the patients. So that is one of the actions we do need to take, and we are going to have to get rid of this Gift of Madness Misery in order to do that. Now that was our turn, so that is good. We are in a position to play our improvisation if necessary to bring out this machete. So no enemies to worry about. We'll simply go to upkeep. We will discard, or we will draw a card. There is an Unexpected Courage. We've got a choice of taking a resource or not. We will not take a resource this turn. We will add a Doom and draw an encounter card. Counter card is Ooze and Filth. We put Ooze and Filth next to the agenda deck. Each location gets +1 Shroud, and then at the end of the round we discard Ooze and Filth. So that's kind of annoying, considering we are at the yard and it's a 1 Shroud location, and this is going to add 1 Shroud to that, +1 from our mental trauma we suffered. So it's actually now a 3 Shroud location. We are a 4 because of Dark Horse. I would like to get this clue, so I think I'm going to commit my Unexpected Courage to make us a 6 versus 3 to pass this check. 6 versus 3? Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Let's see how we do. Chaos Bag says -1, so that is good. So we need our 3 actions here before I forget. That was our first action. So we grab the clue. Now we've got our 3 clues, so we can advance if we want. We can advance. I'm going to take the second action in order to take this action on Gift of Madness Misery. We need to get rid of that. We can't have that hanging around in our hand if we want to win. So we put another monster underneath our act. And so that is taken care of. We've got 1 action remaining. I'm going to take the action. I'm going to take a damage to incite a fight among the patients. So we will remember that we have done that as our final action. So we will take a damage. Alright, so we've incited a fight, and we can advance our act. So we will spend the 3 clues to do that now. Spend our 3 clues, and we will flip to Act 1B, Key to the Basement. Turning a corner, you nearly bump into a nurse with light brown hair and sharp features. You tell her about the violent patients and the strange things you've seen, but she doesn't listen. When you inquire about Daniel, she informs you that he is a patient of Dr. Mintz and that he resides in the secured basement level. Unfortunately, she refuses to let you into that area of the asylum. So the investigators must decide. Choose 1. Any investigator tests for combat to intimidate her into giving you the keys. Or you can test for agility to steal the keys. Or you can test for intellect to persuade her to give you the keys. And you have to keep testing until you either succeed or fail. And if you fail, you simply just knock her over and grab the keys. So we are a 4 versus 4 on all of them. We've actually got a slightly better chance with agility because we do get that +1 bonus from Peter. So we can actually go 5 versus 4 on the agility. So we'll try intellect first. We're just a 4 versus 4, not very hopeful. And we get a 0. Look at that. Holy cow. A little bit of luck there. Doesn't hurt. So we do actually, to we do manage to persuade her to give us the keys. So we advance to Act 2A, and we are good to go. So that was a nice little surprise. I was not expecting that at all. So we will drop that there. Now, let's see, we need to advance to Act 2A. So this is the Really Bad Ones, version 2. Daniel is somewhere in the second basement where the most dangerous patients are kept. Now that you have the key, you can explore this area of the asylum. So we get to ignore the text on the unrevealed side of Arkham Asylum locations, and our objective is to find the patient confinement location with Daniel Chesterfield, and we will be instructed when to advance. So that was our turn. A nice turn there. We accomplished one of our objectives. We've got so we need to accomplish a couple more. I think we need 4 or 5 altogether. So getting one down right away is nice. There are no enemies in play, so we don't have to worry about that. We will go right to the upkeep. We will draw a card. It is our magnifying glass. That's very helpful. And we will add a resource. Will we add a resource? I don't think we're going to add a resource. We're going to hang on to it here. And the ooze and filth goes away, and we will simply add a doom. And we will draw our next encounter card, which is, another one of these. Another yellow sign. Test 4 willpower, and if you fail, you take 2 horror and search your deck for a madness weakness. Draw that card and shuffle your deck. This seems custom made for for poor Lola with her multiple madness weaknesses. Although this would be really good, because if we get rid of that second madness weakness in our deck, we can have free reign and just swap to whatever role we want to without having to worry about us losing stuff. So it's a 4 test 4 intellect, or sorry, 4 willpower. We are a 4/5 willpower. So I'm just going to test that straight up. 5 versus 4. Chaos Bag says -2, so we do fail. So we take 2 horror. I'm going to take 1, and Peter's going to take 1. And then we have to search our deck for... Look at all our cards. We will find our other madness, which is the other crisis of identity in our deck. So we discard all cards of our current role. We don't have to worry about that. Then we discard the top card of our deck and switch to that role. We are going to be... Well, that is the man in the pallid mask. That's a weakness, so we switch to neutral. Okay, well, that's all right. We get rid of the man in the pallid mask. We don't have to worry about him this game. Okay, we are... that's okay. I don't mind that so much, actually, because now we can switch roles with a fair amount of impunity. We don't have to worry about losing our... losing anything. So what I'm going to do... We're going to gain our 3 actions. I'm going to go 1 to the Western Patient Wing, 2 over here to the Mess Hall. Mess Hall is a 2-shroud location with 2 clues, and after you successfully investigate the Mess Hall, you have to choose and discard 1 card from your hand. And that is it is a victory point location. So that was 1, 2. I'm actually going to move 3 over here to the kitchen. And the kitchen is a 2-shroud location with 1 clue. And if there are no clues here, you test 2 willpower, and if you succeed, you remember that you set a fire in the kitchen. Okay, so I'm going to swap my role back now to Survivor, so at the end of my turn I can heal a horror from Peter. We do not have to worry about any cards. No enemies to worry about, so we will simply draw a card. There's a copy of Lucky, that's good. Do we want a resource or not? Do we want the Lucky? No, not right now. We'll hang on to it. And we go to the next Mythos phase. We are at 3 of 7. We draw a card. It is a Maniac. This guy's a bit of a problem. So after he has 3 fight, 4 health, and 1 evade. After the Maniac engages you, you take 1 damage and you deal 1 damage to the Maniac. So we have to take a damage and we deal a damage. So we need to... How are we going to do this? Because he's just going to keep hitting us if we evade him. If we evade, grab a clue. So we're going to get our 3 actions. So what I'm thinking here is that I really don't want to waste time killing this guy. If I can evade him, grab this clue, set the kitchen on fire. That wouldn't be bad. He is only a 1 and we are a 5. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go 1 versus 5, I think. So first action, we're going to evade. We are going to go, we have an agility of 3, 4, 5 versus 1. Chaos Bag says -1, so he is evaded. Okay. Second action, we want to discover the clue in the kitchen. So we are a 3, 4 versus 2. I'm going to pitch one of our improvisations to make us a 4, 5, 6 versus 2. Yeah, I'll commit the improvisation to make us 6 versus 2. Chaos Bag says Skull. That's a -1, so we do succeed. We grab this clue. And now I want to set the kitchen on fire. So that's a 4. We are a 4, 5, 6. No, sorry, 3, 4, 5 versus 2. Let's see how we do there. Another skull, that's a -1. So we do succeed in setting the kitchen on fire. So we have accomplished 2 of the objectives we need to do. Now, we need to... We go to the upkeep. There's no enemies to worry about. Well, there is an enemy to worry about. This annoying guy. So he is going to ready and engage us again. And when he engages us, we take a damage and deal a damage to him. So we take a damage and we deal a damage to him. Okay, not great, but we've got 2 of our objectives down. We just need to get a couple more and we'll be in a good position. We just draw a card. There is an if it bleeds. That isn't going to really help us this turn. Does have a willpower and combat icons. That's probably what we're going to be using it for. We actually do get to heal another horror off of Peter because we are still a survivor. Do we gain a resource? I don't think we gain a resource. And we simply go to the Mythos phase. Add a Doom and draw an encounter card. Oh, there's another enemy. Double enemies. That's really bad. That is really, really bad. So the young psychopath is 2 fight, 2 health, and 2 evade, or 3 evade, sorry. Forced after the young psychopath engages you, you must either take 1 horror or she gets +3 fight until the end of the investigation phase. So, and she's got 3 agility. So we need to get out of here as quickly as possible. Okay, so first of all, do we take the horror? We could take it on Peter, but I don't really want to fight her. I just want to evade. I want to double evade and move to the mess hall this turn. So I am not going to take the horror. She's going to have 5 fight. That's fine. We're going to gain our 3 actions. So so we need to double evade this turn and get to the mess hall. Well, let's deal with the maniac first. He's a 1. We're a 3, 4, 5. 5 versus 1. Chaos Bag says -1, so he is evaded. Now, do we have any agility icons? We do not. Now, I'm sort of hanging on to this improvisation because I wouldn't mind playing you could play the machete or stuff like that, but the problem is that there is the corrosion card that just corrupts all your items in this game, in this scenario. So playing items isn't a particularly good plan. So I think what I'm going to do, I really need to get out of this location. I am going to commit the improvisation to this test. So I'm a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus 3. Chaos Bag says skull, that's a -1. So we also evade the young psychopath. And as my third action, I am leaving that location. That is just getting too busy for my tastes. So we are at the mess hall. And we have we've managed to escape the mess in the kitchen. They can all burn in the fire that's going on in there right now, for all I care. Enemy phase, nothing happens. We go to upkeep. The young psychopath and the maniac will both ready. And we will draw a card. There is a preposterous sketches. Now that is that might come in handy as well, because we're going to, if we're going to escape this place, we're going to need our elusive for sure in order to get out of here. Okay. Do we take a resource? What are we? We would be a 3 versus 2. I do kind of want to play the preposterous sketches at some point. We don't have to do it quite yet, though, so we're going to wait on that. We won't take a resource. We will simply add a doom. Draw an encounter card. Oh, my lord. The third yellow sign of the game. This is becoming a very... I've seen this one a few too many times. Yellow sign, omen, revelation, test for willpower, and if you fail, you take 2 horror and search your deck for madness weakness. I don't have any more madness weaknesses in my deck, so I don't have to worry about that. I do have to worry about the horror. I do have Peter, though. So we're just going to test. We are a 4-5 versus 4. Let's see what the Chaos Bag has to say. Chaos Bag gives us a tablet, which is -X, which is the shroud value, which is 2. So we do end up failing that. We will simply dump the 2 horror on Peter here. And that will be that. 3 actions for Lola. Okay, do we want the victory point? That is the next question we have to ask ourselves. We do need the clues because we are going to have to get ourselves down to the basement. We could grab 2 clues and move. We'd have to discard 2 cards if we're successful. But I do have some cards I can pitch. So I think what we'll do, we will just go... we are a 3-4 versus 2. So first investigate test 4 versus 2. That's a -3. That's a failure. We will do it again. 4 versus 2. That's a -1. That is a success. So that was 2 actions. And our third action, we will go 4 versus 2 again. And we get a +1. Okay. So we grabbed our 2 clues. We have to discard 2 cards from our hand. We will discard the If It Bleeds. And what do we ditch? I'm ditching the... I'm going to get rid of the machete. I'm just not going to play it. I don't think I'm going to play it this game. Okay. Peter can heal because we are still a survivor. We have no actions left. We get to draw a card. There's an art student. That could come in handy if we need to, if we happen to lose Peter at some point. Do we gain a resource? I think we gain a resource now because we don't need to heal. Or sorry, we don't need to do much more investigating here. So we are going to gain a resource, which is going to turn off our dark horse. But so we are a... so we go to the next Mythos phase. We are at 6 of 7. Encounter card is Gift of Madness Pity. We cannot attack lunatic enemies. It's a Peril Hidden Revelation. Secretly add it to our hand. You cannot attack lunatic enemies, and as an action you randomly choose 1 enemy from among the set-aside monster enemies and place it beneath the act deck without looking at it. That is fine. We're going to gain our 3 actions. Whoops. Pushing the wrong keys here. There we go. So first action, we're going to move to the Asylum Hall's western wing. Second action, we're going to move to the eastern wing. And third action, we are going to move to the basement. That is a 4-shroud location with 1 clue. And it has the forced effect. After the basement hall is revealed, put the 4 set-aside patient confinement locations into play. So we have our patient confinement locations here. We will shuffle them up. So we know Daniel is in one of these. We know Daniel is in one of these locations. So we will have to find him, and you have to spend a clue in order to enter one of the patient confinement locations. Fortunately, we do have quite a few clues. Okay, what we need to do, we go to the enemy phase. Enemies don't move, thankfully. We draw a card. There's a vicious blow. That's not going to help us a whole lot. I am going to gain another resource because I want to play my preposterous sketches. And we are advancing this turn. So we will flip to Agenda 2B, the yellow sign. In the back of your mind, a force beckons. Have you seen it? It calls to you, glimpsing something in your peripheral vision. You turn and find a familiar symbol peering back at you wherever you look. It is etched upon the doors, drawn upon the walls, painted on the patient's canvases. You cannot escape it. The lead investigator must randomly choose an enemy from among the set-aside monster enemies and shuffle it into the encounter deck without looking at it. And we have to check the campaign log. If Constance Dumaine is not listed under the VIP slain, we search the collection for her, a little too sociable, and spawn her in the garden. Okay, so first of all we need to shuffle an enemy from the set aside enemies into the deck. So we will do that. Whoops, I looked at that one. We have to shuffle them. Let's try that again. Make sure I push the right keys here. Okay, so that goes in there. We shuffle it up. We have to bring Constance into play. Constance shows up at the garden. So she's up here. She is, of course, has 4 fight, 6 health, and 1 evade. She's a monster, lunatic, a leak, and a hunter, and while she is exhausted, she gets +3 fight, worth 0 victory points, and she will hit you for 2 damage if she tags you. So that's bad news. So now we need to advance to Agenda 3A. We will get rid of this and go like that. Agenda 3A is his domain. Flee. Flee while you still can. Forced when you would place an enemy beneath the act deck, shuffle that enemy into the encounter deck instead. And it has a doom threshold of 8. So we have 8 turns to get ourselves out of this place and survive. So let us see how we do. We need to draw an encounter card. Counter card is Straitjacket. If there is no copy of Straitjacket in your threat area, put Straitjacket into play. As an asset that takes up a body slot and 2 hand slots, return each asset in those slots to your hand. This card cannot leave play except by the ability below, which is take 2 actions to discard Straitjacket. So we have gotten the Straitjacket, but we do not have anything in our body slots or whatnot to worry about. So that is fine. We gain our 3 actions. Now we need to find Daniel. We also need to complete a couple more tasks before we can escape. We've got Constance, who's going to be here in 1, 2, 3, 4 turns. Fortunately, she's only got one evade, so that's nice. Let us see. I am going to spend a clue as my first action. I'm going to spend a clue to go to this patient confinement. And we'll flip it over. It is patient confinement familiar cell. It's a 2-shroud location with 1 clue. You can take an action to test X willpower, where X is the amount of horror on you. If you succeed, you recognize the room. Remember that you recalled the way out. So we don't need the clue on this. We just need to test X willpower. Our willpower is 2. Or that's a 2. It's a willpower 2 test. Our willpower is 4. We do have a lucky, though, so I am going to go 4 versus 2. Let's see how we do. Chaos Bag says -2, so we are successful. So that was our second action. We do get this... we do get that... we do recall the way out. So we can recall the way out. We've set fire to the kitchen. We've started a fire among the patients. And now we need to keep on trucking here. And we'll use our next action just to move back to the basement. End of our turn, we're still a survivor, so we can heal Peter. We are not going to take a resource, I think. Enemy phase, Constance is moving. None of the other enemies move. We go to the upkeep. We draw a card. There's another copy of Lucky. Okay, that's nice. And we're not taking a resource. We add a Doom and draw an encounter card, which is going to be another straitjacket. And that just whiffs, because we've already got a straitjacket, so that doesn't have any effect, which is actually nice for a change. Sometimes the encounter deck will throw you a bone. I just need to have some coffee here. Playing in the morning, you need to wake up. We get our three actions. Okay. First action, we're going to spend a clue to move to this patient confinement. Flip it over. It is patient confinement occupied cell. It's a 5-shroud location with 1 clue. You have to test 2 combat to release the patient here from his bonds. If you succeed, he howls like a wolf and tears off through the basement. Remember, you have released a dangerous patient. Okay, I think we're going to release the dangerous patient because that's who we are. So we test 2. We are a 3. 3 versus 2. We do have a lucky, though, that we can spend if we miss this one. So 3 versus 2. Chaos Bag says 0, so we do succeed. So we put another token there. And as our third action, we're just going to move back. We're trying our best to find Daniel here. We've got 2 more things. We've completed 4 of our objectives. We didn't use our lucky. Constance is going to move. We're going to draw a card during our upkeep. There is an emergency aid. That is kind of nice. Heals 2 damage if we need it. We're okay right now. Not going to gain a clue, gain a resource. Advance Doom and draw a card. There is the Mad Patient. It spawns at the nearest asylum halls. Its prey is the most sanity. It's got 2 fight, 2 health, and 3 evade. When you attack the Mad Patient, you take a horror. So it is going to spawn here. So we are definitely in need of some... Okay, so what we need now, we need to find Daniel and we need our elusive. That's basically how we're getting out of this place. We need to find Daniel and find our elusive. We'll gain our 3 actions. First action, we're going to spend a clue to go to this patient hall, or this patient confinement. Oh, we found Daniel. Patient confinement, Daniel's cell. 2 shroud location with 1 clue. After patient confinement is revealed, advance to Act 2B. Okay, now we're cooking. We go to 2B. Act 2B is Daniel's warning. When you enter his cell, you find Daniel huddled in a corner of the room, sobbing and rocking back and forth on the ground. No mask, no mask, he stammers over and over. You help him to his feet and ask him what he remembers about the King in Yellow. But he interrupts you. Don't speak his name, he exclaims frantically, his eyes wide with a yellow glow. Nigel made us speak his name. He made us speak the oath. And now he lives inside us, controlling us. Don't you understand? He rambles on. The man approaches wearing a crazed expression, and you take a weary step backward. We spoke his name, and the price was paid. Hastur, Hastur, O King! Then suddenly he transforms before your very eyes. His bones twist and snap. His body warps grotesquely. The symbol carved into his forehead burns bright, and a yellow glow emanates from within his body. He lunges to attack you. So we spawn the set-aside Daniel Chesterfield, enemy side face up, at the patient confinement Daniel's cell. So he shows up. And he is engaged with us. Okay, and we advance to our next act. There it is. Act 3A, planning the escape. With or without Daniel, you have to get out of this place as soon as you can. Ignore the text on the unrevealed side of Arkham Asylum locations. The objective, if the investigators have performed 4 of the following, you must advance. Know the guards' patrols, set a fire in the kitchen, incite a fight among the patients, release a dangerous patient, recalled the way out, and distracted the guards. We have achieved 4 of those. We have incited a fight, set a fire, recalled the way out, and released a dangerous patient. So we must advance. If investigators have performed 4 of the following, we must advance. So we advance right to Act 3B. If we can flip. Let's try it the old-fashioned way. There we go. We advance to Act 3B, A Way Out. An orderly scream echoes across the hall. Within moments, an alarm rings loudly throughout the institution. Nurses and guards rush through the asylum in a desperate attempt to control the situation. You feel dazed and your vision is spotty, as though you've been struck by something heavy. The walls blur together and twist. Creatures begin to emerge out of crevices and corners that did not exist moments before. So we shuffle the encounter discard pile and each enemy beneath the act deck into the encounter deck. So we have how many enemies here? We had 2. So we shuffle the encounter discard pile and each enemy beneath the act deck into the encounter deck. So those 2 go in, and all of those go in from the encounter discard pile. If at least 3 monster enemies were shuffled into the encounter deck by this effect, the investigators with the lowest willpower discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until an enemy monster is discarded and draws that enemy. We do not have to do that, fortunately. That is a huge boon. So we don't have to do that. So we advance to Act 4A. No Asylum. All hell has broken loose. Ignore the text on the unrevealed side of Arkham Asylum locations. Garden gains action if there is no ready enemy in the garden. Resign. Finally a way out. If each undefeated investigator has resigned, we get to advance. We need to get out of here now, and like quick, because we've got Constance is coming. We've got Constance is going to show up here. We need to get out. We don't have a whole lot of time to do it. So we are going to evade Daniel Chesterfield here. We actually didn't read his text, so we'll do that now. Daniel Chesterfield, or at least what's left of him, has 3 fight, 4 health, and 3 evade. He's a humanoid lunatic elite. His prey is the highest combat. If you control the clasp of Black Onyx, you can parlay. Now this is impossible because you cannot encounter this side of Daniel with if you control the clasp of Black Onyx, so that's interesting. You show Daniel the clasp and he staggers backward, collapsing into a motionless husk. You get to add him to the victory display. He's worth 1 victory point. He's a lunatic. We can't attack him because we have the gift of madness. But that's fine. We're simply going to try to evade him. So we are a 3-4 versus 3. Do we have stuff to pitch? We could swap over to... No, we've got our lucky. We're going to keep that. Chaos Bag says -1, so we do succeed in evading him. So he stays there. He's not a hunter, thank goodness. That was our second action. Third action, we move back. Okay. We have to get out of here. We have a mad patient between us and the exit. We also have Constance between us and the exit. We need to try to get out of here. We need to draw, and if we can get our elusive, we can win this. If we can get our elusive, we can win this. We go to the enemy phase. Constance moves. Okay. We will draw. So we go to the upkeep. Daniel readies, but that's fine. Daniel's not any concern of ours anymore. We get to draw a card. There is our dodge. Hey, that's very handy. That could come in very handy. We have to discard a card. I'm going to get rid of my Vicious Blow. That's not going to be played this game. I am going to take a resource because I want to play our elusive as quickly as we can. We will add a Doom and draw an encounter card. Come on, let's not have any no enemies. No enemies. Whew. We get Ooze and Filth. It's the hazard. You put it into play next to the agenda deck. Each location gets +1 Shroud, and at the end of the round you discard Ooze and Filth. Okay, so we need to swap. What is she going to hit us for? 2 damage. This is an awful risk. Okay, we get our 3 actions. 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 We get our We only have one swap in us. That's the problem. Okay, we're going to swap. Okay, how do we do this? What's the best way? Got to think about this one. If we move, we'd have to double evade. We'd have to double evade the Mad Patience and Constance. Then we'd have to do it again and move. Or we can try to draw an elusive. If we swap to Seeker, play our preposterous sketches, yeah, I think that's what we do. Okay. Because if we don't draw an elusive this turn, what we can do is hide in one of the patient confinement cells until we can draw it. We have a couple more chances. So let's do that. We will swap to Seeker as our role. We will play our preposterous sketches because there is a clue there. That is important. So we spend 2 resources. We get to draw 3 cards. Come on, elusive. Vicious Blow. Guts. Elusive! Ho 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 ho! Sweet! Okay. That was our first action. Alright, now we're cooking. Okay, how do we do this now? We're going to have to swap to Rogue at some point. If we retreat to the patient cell, and what do we want to do? How do we do this? Doesn't matter at this point. We've got 2 actions remaining. We gain a resource. I can't play the elusive this turn, so we're going to retreat. Second action, we retreat into the patient, this patient cell here, the familiar cell. Third action, we are going to does it matter? I'm just going to draw a card. There's a dodge. Okay. We go to the enemy phase. Constance moves. She's on our tail. We go to upkeep. We draw a card. There's a copy of Pete. Now we're 4 cards over, so we'll have to discard. We'll discard Pete, the Vicious Blow. We're not going to need the magnifying glass. And the arts student. We take a resource for sure, because we want to play our elusive next turn. We discard the Ooze and Filth. We go to the Mythos phase. We draw we add a Doom and draw an encounter card, which is the Spawn of Hallie. Oh dear. Haven't seen this thing before. This is new to me. 4 fight, 4 health, 2 evade. Its prey is the investigator with the most horror, which is me. It's a monster. It has retaliate and forced. After you successfully evade spawn of Holly by 2 or less, you take a horror. So it punishes you for successfully evading, and it will hit you for a damage and 2 horror. I don't care about that though. I am switching. I am taking my 3 actions. I am going to switch to Rogue as a free action. I am going to play my elusive. Fast, play only during your turn, disengage from each enemy engaged with you, and move to a revealed location with no enemies. So we leave the spawn of Hallie behind in the patient confinement cell, or the familiar cell. We move up to the yard. That's for free. That was our first. That was a free action. Second action, we move up to the garden. It's a 3 shroud location with 1 clue, and it has the action: if there are no clues on the garden, you can test agility 2, and if you succeed, remember that you have distracted the guards. However, on no asylum, because we ignore the text on unrevealed Arkham locations, garden gains action: if there are no ready enemy in the garden, resign. I will take that action. Whew! Wow. What a game. That was a crazy game. So close, so tense. Lola pulls off a victory. Unbelievable. Once again, elusive is the all-star. Although Peter, he was amazing. Dark Horse was amazing. We got a great start, great opening hand, and we drew the elusive right when we needed it in order to escape the asylum. Really, I love this scenario a lot. It's always intense. It's always it really favors investigators who can evade. I think if you end up fighting the enemies, and if I had taken the time to play my machete and fight any of these enemies, I would be a lot further behind the agenda deck. The first time I played this solo, it took me 7 tries to beat it until I finally figured out, and part of the reason was just because I was always fighting the enemies instead of evading them, and you really don't have the time, and playing any more assets than you need to, that wastes time, especially if you're playing things like the machetes and whatnot, and you get corrosion, which I believe is in the encounter deck, and that just wipes them out, so you basically wasted a couple of actions that way. Yeah, really good scenario, very well designed, feels very thematic, very I love the patient confinement areas. I love the layout of the asylum, the asylum. So if you haven't had a chance to play this one yet, definitely give it a try. The price of failure is your campaign ends, unfortunately, but Lola will advance. Surprise, surprise. I was wholly expecting her to go down to defeat in this one, but she manages to pull off the victory. So we will advance to the Phantom of Truth, and I will have to look to see what choices, if any, I have as a result of what has happened in this scenario. But yeah, Lola pulls off the victory. Very surprised, but very happy that we will get to continue the campaign with her in the Phantom of Truth. That is going to do it for me today. If you enjoyed this playthrough, I'd appreciate it if you could leave me a thumbs up. It helps out the channel a great deal. If you notice that I made any mistakes, or you just want to chat about this great game, make sure you leave a comment down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to be notified of when I release future content. If you'd like to contact me, I can be reached at manfromlang@gmail.com. I'm also on Twitter at manfromlang. Until the stars are right, keep your shotgun close and your elder sign closer. Take care out there, and happy investigating.